Can I get some? Here. Stop! You weren't supposed to do that!
So that was just a small example of what you can do with this effect, and honestly this effect is really easy, so let's just get right into it. Alright, so when you're recording for this effect, make sure to have your phone or camera on the tripod so you can have a clip of your object and one with the background. Once you have both clips, go to the first clip with your object and try to find the frame where you want to start the effect. For me, it'll be right here. Once you've done that, head to the right side of your screen and then hit the snowflake icon. This will just freeze that one frame you picked. Move that clip up, and then you're going to want to move the background right underneath it. Just change the length of the frozen clip to match the background, and then we're going to mask out our object. For me, I'm going to head into Fusion and mask out the easy way, which is just Magic Mask. It is in the studio version, but there are other ways to mask out objects. I recommend finding a tutorial or um, use CapCut because I believe CapCut has some good like masking abilities. Alright, so I'm gonna just mask out the car here, and then once I have my object, I'm gonna render it. Alright, once it's done rendering, we're gonna head into the color section. Here, all we're gonna do is bring on the contrast and the pivot to make our object black. And then we're gonna head into the cut section, and then we're just gonna cut a little bit of the beginning of this clip, not too much though. And then all we're gonna do is just cut. Once you've done that, we're gonna head into the fusion section. Alright, so now we're gonna add a DVE node. Here we're just gonna make our object look like it's heading to the floor. And to do this, we're just gonna add keyframes on the center X and Y, the Z, and these three. Head towards the end of the clip, and we're just gonna mess around with the settings here. And what we really want to do here is just match our object to make it look like it's on the floor. Right now you can't see the background because I just didn't place it. But if you just have an idea of what your background looks like, then you should be fine. We're gonna add a directional blur. And with this directional blur, all it's doing is just gonna blur our object pretty much. So at the start of this clip, we're just gonna add keyframes to everything, honestly. Head to the very end of the clip, and then you're gonna want to move the X and the Y towards the spot where your shadow is heading. So for me, I'm just heading it more towards the right, and then that's pretty much it. And then you're just gonna move the length of this and move it slightly to the left. And if we play our clip, it looks like it's blurring into the floor. Now we're gonna head back into the cut section. We're gonna mess with this clip now, and then we're gonna head into the fusion. We're gonna add another DVE. And here we're not gonna keyframe anything, we're just gonna set it on the floor into the environment. So I'm just do that real quick. Now we're gonna add a simple blur. And it's just to make our object look fuzzy on the floor. We don't want a straight PNG looking straight on the floor. Now that that's done, you're gonna want to head to the beginning of this clip and you're gonna go to the opacity. We're gonna bring that down to around 30. Put a keyframe, and then you're gonna head just a few seconds after and just put it all the way to 60. You don't want it to be too dark because it'll look weird. You kind of want to see the ground from the background in the shadow. We're gonna copy and paste this clip, and then we're just gonna put it above our previous one. As you can see, the opacity here is the same as the previous one. So what I like to do is bring it down a little bit more in the beginning, because you don't want the beginning to look too dark. And then we're gonna head into the fusion page again. We're gonna add another directional blur. We're gonna head into the start of the clip, and then we're just gonna keyframe everything. And then we're gonna head to the end of the clip. I don't know what's bugging right now. I think something wrong with my magic mask, but I'm just gonna go towards before that starts happening. And then I'm gonna just move the X and the Y, same as before, same angle. And they're gonna change the length just slightly, not too much, because it will start looking like the blur is going up instead of sideways. And then we're also gonna mess with the first blur as well, just a little bit, so it doesn't look too weird on the floor. Not too much though, because you don't want the image to disappear completely. Now we're gonna head back into the cut section to see what it looks like. As you can see, it's looking better, but I still think it's a little bit too dark. So in the opacity for this new clip, I'm just gonna unmark the keyframe here, and we're gonna move it towards more towards the end, around here, and then we're just gonna bring it back up to around 80. You can see that the shadows looking a little bit more realistic. And what I like to do sometimes is with this top clip, I like to go from the start and then just mess with the transform here on the right side of the screen. I'm gonna just give everything a little keyframe and then towards the end, and I'm gonna just move it slightly towards the X position towards the right and move the Y maybe slightly up. I'm not sure how much I want it to be up. And as I can see, it's starting to look like from the actual film here. But that's pretty much it for the tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. And if you want to see me do anything else, then just comment down below. And yeah, till next time.